Hello. For this sequence, blocks might be useful, and if you have a bolster, keep it handy, but neither are essential, as I'll always offer you alternatives if you do not have any props. So make your way onto your back with your feet on the floor and knees bent. So without any props, come right onto your back with your feet a little wider than your hips and your arms resting on the mat away from your body, palms turned up or down, whatever is most comfortable for you. And then let your knees gently come together and support each other. Alternatively, if you prefer, you can walk your soles of your feet together and let your knees open wide for this first pose. And finally, if you do have a bolster, you can place it on your mat, the length of your mat, same direction of your mat. Place your fist between the bottom of the bolster and the right by your sacrum, and just have a fist between the bolster and your sacrum, and then come onto the mat, come onto the bolster, and let your chest open. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. Just allow your breath to be natural. Just observe it. Take a moment and scan your body. Notice how every part of your body feels today. Notice how your neck feels, your shoulders, your upper back, your arms, your chest, torso, hips, and legs. Notice any sensation and be aware of what feels great, what might feel not so great. Notice anything you need to be aware of and be gentle with throughout the practice. In today's practice, I invite you to turn inward and feel. Feel every pose as we move from pose to pose, and really notice how it feels within you. There's a quote by Thich Nhat Hanh. He said, "To meditate means to go home to yourself. Then you know how to take care of the things that are happening inside you. And you know how to take care of the things that happen around you." So just think of taking care of your body, even your emotions, and take this opportunity to feel. Just take a few more breaths here on your back and breathe. Let your rib cage expand a little more deeply on the inhale, and as you exhale, let your body melt into the mat. And then slowly roll over onto one side and make your way up to a seated position. If you're using blocks or a bolster, feel free to sit on them to elevate your hips. We'll begin with a few rounds of Dirga breath. It's a 3-part wave breath. So as you inhale, you fill up your belly, and on the same inhale, you continue and fill up your rib cage, and finally your chest. And then you exhale completely and release the inhale. So we'll begin. I'll walk you through it. So take a deep cleansing breath here. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. And begin. Inhale through the belly. the rib cage. A few more sips into the chest. And exhale, release. And again, inhale, 1, 2, 3, and exhale. Continue at your own pace, inhaling with the 3-part wave. It's all inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And one more time. And pause and breathe naturally. Observe how that breath feels on your body. Bring your hands to your side. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. When you're ready to exhale, softly lower your arms down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, release. One more time. Inhaling, rise. And exhale, release. Walk your hands forward and make your way onto your knees to a kneeling position. And now come up and just stay on your knees. Your toes can be tucked or tops of the feet on the mat, whatever is comfortable for you. And just walk over to the left side of your mat. Straighten your right leg, placing the right foot flat on the mat. Let your right hand rest on your right leg. Turn your left palm out. As you inhale, reach your left arm up and then slide your right hand down your right leg as you bend to the right. Just breathe here. Think of softening that left shoulder back. Take a moment and feel this pose. Observe how it feels on your body. And now lower your left hand to the mat and reach your right arm up over your head. Think of lifting your right waist and rib cage up towards the ceiling, letting your left ribs and hip come towards each other. Now lower your right hand down, come back up to a kneeling position, and walk over to the other end of your mat. Straighten your left leg, left foot flat on the mat. Let your left hand rest on your left leg and turn your right palm up. As you inhale, reach your right arm up and over to the left side, letting your left hand slide down that leg. Think of right shoulder back. Notice if this side feels different or the same as the other. Often we feel a little different on each side. And now lower the right hand to your mat and reach your left arm up over your head. Lift your left waist and rib cage up as high as you can, letting this lower rib cage and hips come together. Now lower your left hand and knee to the mat and make your way to tabletop. Toes can be tucked or tops of feet on the mat here. Inhaling, open your chest and belly towards the mat. Think of tilting your pelvis. Breathe here. Let your chest expand. As you inhale and exhale, let go. On your next exhale, begin to lift your spine up, rounding your back like a cat, stretching your spine up towards the ceiling or sky if you're outside. Inhaling, arch your back. And exhale, round. Just pause and really feel this pose, this movement. If one shape feels particularly good, just dive in and hang out there. If one of these shapes does not agree with your body and your body is saying, slow down, just listen to the wisdom of your body and softly slow down or avoid that shape. And now, placing the tops of your feet on the mat, lower your hips over your heels and stretch your arms forward, letting your forehead lower in the direction of the mat. It may not reach the mat. You can let it dangle, or maybe your forehead reaches the mat. Walk your arms over to the right, letting your hips roll to the left. And then back to center. Walk your hands to the left as you let your hips roll to the right. And then back to center. Stretching your arms forward, lift your hips up over your knees, and then walk your knees back and come onto your belly. Place your hands just under each shoulder, tops of the feet on the mat. And then pressing your hands into the mat ever so slightly, just let your hands support your body, push your belly into the mat, and send your chest forward and up. Think soft shoulders away from your ears. Look straight ahead. To protect your low back, you can keep the lowest rib cage right on the mat. If your low back feels good and healthy, just with the support of your hands, just lightly lift yourself up just a couple more inches. It's not about coming up too high. This is a chest opener, Bhujangasana. Breathe here. If your shoulders are lifted, lower your shoulders down and back. And now press your hands into the mat. Come up through tabletop. As you send your hips back, begin to round your spine. Tops of the feet on the mat. Lower your hips over your heels in child's pose. Observe how this feels on your body. As you inhale, begin to lift your hips up over your knees, rounding your spine. Walk your hands forward as far as you can. Begin to lower your belly to the mat, arching your back as you lower. Hands resting on the mat under each shoulder. Come forward and up in Cobra. Move through this at your own pace from Cobra, lifting up through tabletop, in Child's Pose, and back and forth at your own pace, pausing in any of these shapes that your body is asking for more. Just do this a few more times. Letting your spine stretch and round and arch. And the next time you come through tabletop, come on all fours, pause here. And just walk your knees under your hips or hands under your shoulders. Tuck your toes, lift your knees up off the mat, and walk your feet forward to your hands. Bending your knees as much as you need to straighten your spine. Let your upper body fold forward. If it feels better for you, you can also rest your forearms on your thighs, or let your hands dangle, or hands on the mat, or on blocks at any height. If your knees are bent, play with straightening one knee, maybe the other, maybe both, or perhaps today you just need to keep them both bent. The idea in this pose is to have a nice straight spine, folding forward as much as feels right for you, and then keeping the straightness of the spine. Play with straightening one knee and then the other. Doesn't matter if the knees are bent. We can just work towards straightening them. On your next inhale, come halfway up, nice flat back. Arms are straight, they land on your legs wherever they land. As you exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, reach your arms out to the side, slowly come up to standing, arms up over your head, palms together at your heart, and release. Inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. As you exhale, bend your knees slightly, keep your spine straight, and use your core. Try to just isolate your abdominal muscles as you exhale to fold forward, letting your hips go back. As you inhale, come halfway up. Engaging the core as you exhale, fold forward. Support your spine to keep it straight. Inhale, arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Arms up over your head, palms together at your heart. Release. One more time, inhaling, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Nice flat back, shoulders back. It's a neutral spine. Chest is not arched or rounded. Nice neutral spine. Exhale, fold. Place both hands on the mat or on blocks if you prefer. And step your right foot back as far as you can. If that left knee is passing your ankle, step the right foot back a little further. And then soften the hips towards the mat. If you're using blocks, it looks like this. And just think of gently lowering the hips. And now lower that right knee to the mat and send the hips forward. If you need extra padding for that knee, you can double up the outside of your mat. And just softly, passively let the hips come forward. Turn inward and feel, how is this pose on your body? If you're using blocks, take them with you and walk your hands back. Send the hips back as far as you can. Work towards straightening that left leg and then flexing those toes towards you. Think, draw that left hip back. Breathe. Feel. Turn inward. Bend the left knee, lower that foot to the mat, and walk your hands forward. Tuck your right toes, lift that right knee up off the mat and step the right foot forward beside the left and bow forward. And now place your hands on the mat or on blocks and step your left foot back as far as you can. Again, if that right knee is passing your ankle, step the left foot back even further. Soften the hips towards the mat. Just think of relaxing them into the mat. And then lower that left knee to the mat and send the hips forward. Hands might be on the mat or on blocks. How does this side feel compared to the other? Walk your hands back, taking the blocks with you if you're using them. Work towards straightening that right knee. Really draw that right hip back. And then flex those toes towards you. Bend the right knee, lower that foot to the mat, and walk your hands forward. Tuck your left toes, lift the left knee up off the mat, step that foot forward beside the left, and fold. As you inhale, come halfway up. Exhaling, fold forward. Inhale your arms out to your side, all the way to standing, arms up over your head, palms together at your heart. Release. With your feet hip distance apart, coming to the front of your mat, step your right foot back, a fairly big step back, but not huge, bigger than a natural step. Hands on hips, bring that right hip forward and bend the left knee. Now if the left knee is passing the ankle, take a bigger step back with that right foot. Right toes can be pointed out at a 45-degree angle or right heel lifted. Lower the hips, deepen the lunge. Check in with your hips and shoulders, have them parallel to the front of the mat. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Soften your shoulders as you reach your fingertips up. Engage your core. That helps support your spine here. Draw your rib cage in. Maybe deepen the lunge. Virabhadrasana 1. Lower your arms and interlace your fingers behind your back. Reach your knuckles towards the back wall. Let your chest open wide. Take a nice deep inhale here. On your next exhale, bow forward to the inside of your left knee, letting your arms come up. Slowly come on back up. Release your hands. Now, if your right heel is lifted, pivot on the toes and turn that heel in. Hands on hips, straighten the left leg. Again, bring that right hip forward so hips parallel to the front of the mat. Left foot is parallel to the length of the mat. Right toes are pointed out at a 45-degree angle. Keeping the legs straight, 99% straight. There's a micro bend in the knees. Keep your spine fully straight. Keeping your hands on your hips, send your hips back and fold forward. Breathe here in Parsvattanasana, pyramid pose. So you might stay here. If your back starts to round or that left knee starts to bend, just come up again till everything is straight. Think of just hinging at the hips. Perhaps on this side you stay right here, or perhaps if you do have blocks, place the blocks on either side of the left foot. The left foot, and fold forward. Now bend your left knee and step the back foot forward to beside the right and fold forward. Breathe. Notice how each leg feels, how each side of your body feels. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side, all the way to standing. Palms together at your heart. And release. Now step your left foot back, a fairly big step back. Hands on hips, bend that right knee. Left heel can stay down if the left toes are pointed out at a 45-degree angle, or if you prefer, left heel can be lifted. Just deepen the lunge, lower those hips. If that right knee is passing the ankle, take a bigger step back. Also be mindful that the right knee and foot are both pointed in the same direction. Adjust the foot so that they are. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, engaging the core to support your spine, your rib cage. Soften the shoulders, engage the arm muscles, even the fingers. Breathe, maybe deepen the lunge. Now lower your arms, interlace your fingers. There's usually one way that we like to interlace our fingers. And now just take a second, switch so they're interlaced the other way. It might feel awkward at first. Take a deep inhale, opening your chest. Stretch your knuckles towards the back wall. Breathe here. As you exhale, bow forward to the inside of the right leg, letting your arms come up. Slowly come on back up. Release your hands. Pivot on the left toes and bring that left heel in. Hands on hips, straighten the right leg. Aim to have your hips parallel to the front of the mat, so maybe bring that left hip forward. Legs are straight, spine is straight. With your hands on your hips, just bend at the hips and fold forward. If your knee starts to bend or your spine starts to round, just come up again. And then offer your body to fold forward a little deeper, keeping everything straight. Option to stay here, or place your hands on blocks at any height, or maybe on the mat, if you can do so without rounding your spine. Bend that front knee and step the back foot forward to beside the other and fold forward. Breathe here. As you inhale, arms out to the side, come all the way to standing, arms up, palms together at your heart, and release. Turn and face the side of the mat and take a nice wide stance. Pivot on your right heel, turning your right toes out. Left foot is facing forward where your body is facing forward. Start with your hands on your hips, and with your right fingertips, slide your fingers down your hip to that hip crease. And then with your fingers, just send that hip crease back, still keeping space in that right side body. Keeping your legs and spine straight, fold forward. And now reach forward with your right arm, and then let your right arm come down. It'll land somewhere on your leg, or if you prefer, you can place a block to the inside of the right leg. Option to stay here, or draw that left shoulder back and reach the left arm up. Utthita Trikonasana. Breathe here. Slowly come on up and lower your arms. Bring the right toes in, hands on hips. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold forward halfway, that nice flat back. Take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, fold forward a little more. Option to keep your hands on your hips, or place your hands on the mat or on a block, or cross your arms and let your elbows dangle. Let your head dangle here. Breathe. Think of letting go. And just take a breath and feel. Turn inward. How does this pose feel on your body? Place your hands on your hips and come back up to standing. Release your hands. Pivot on your left heel and turn your left toes out. Hands on hips with your left fingertip, slide those fingers down your hip to that hip crease, just at the top of your leg. Let your hips roll back and let that left shoulder come forward, keeping the left leg straight. Space in that left side, and then reach your left arm forward as far as you can. Think right shoulder back, and then let your left arm lower. Option to reach your right arm up. Breathe. Slowly come on back up and lower your arms. Bring the toes of your left foot in and walk your feet together. Come on to the front of your mat. Actually, for this pose, if you do have blocks, you can place your hands on blocks. If you don't have blocks, we're coming into Warrior 3. If you do have blocks, you can place your hands on the blocks and walk the feet together and lift one leg up behind you. That is one version of Warrior 3. So if you do have blocks and you want to try that, keep that option in mind. Otherwise, feet roughly hip distance apart. Start with your hands on your hips and just gently bring the toes of the right foot behind you, still facing forward. And now bring your palms together at your heart. Focus your gaze on an object in front of you, left knee slightly bent, just enough bend to help you balance. And play with lifting the right toes up, toes of the right foot up. Flex that foot. Maybe today you just stay here, tapping the toes as you need to for balance. Just focus on being able to lift that foot up and hold it. Or hinge at your left hip, keep the straight line on your torso and right leg, and fold forward. Lifting that right leg up, right foot flexed. Option to extend the arms forward or place the arms on blocks. One more breath. Slowly come on up and lower your hands. And now keep your right foot firmly on the mat, right knee slightly bent. Hands on hips, just place the toes of the left foot gently resting behind you. Focus your gaze on an object that doesn't move. Play with lifting those left toes up and flexing that foot. Maybe on this side, you'll need to tap your toes here to keep your balance. That's okay, just play with that. See if you can hold those toes up. Keep the balance for a second or two longer with every breath. Or bring your palms together at your heart. Fold forward at your right hip, lifting the left leg up and back as you fold forward. Those blocks just saved me. That's okay. This is all a practice. Some days it's harder than others. Option to extend your arms forward or place your hands on blocks. One more breath. Slowly come on back up and lower that foot and lower your arms. And now turn. You can stay at the front of your mat. I'll turn to face you. We're coming into Dancing Shiva. So bring your arms in an L-shaped position and make a circle with your thumb and first finger. Now press your right foot into the mat, right knee slightly bent. Lift your left knee up off the mat and flex that left foot. Focus your gaze on a spot in front of you, and without touching your standing leg, bring that left heel past your standing leg. Bend the standing leg. And now turn and look over your left hand. Breathe. And back to center. Lower your arms and lower your leg. Now press that left foot firmly into the mat. Arms in an L-shaped position, a circle with your thumb and first finger. You can bend that standing leg. Lift your right knee up and flex that right foot. Bring the ankle past the standing leg, without touching it. And bend the standing leg. Turn your gaze to the right and breathe. Turn your gaze back to center. Lower your arms and lower your legs. Take your feet just almost ever so slightly wider than your hips. As you inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Let your hips roll to the right, hands to the left. Back to center and over to the other side. Back to center and lower your arms. Take a nice deep inhale, lifting your arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward. Breathe here in this forward fold. Uttanasana. Imagine you can lift your hips up higher as you inhale and fold forward more deeply as you exhale. Breathe here. Walk your feet together, and now walk your hands to the outside of your left foot. Your feet together or almost together. Play with straightening the right knee, maybe the left. Or if you prefer, you can use a block here if you have one. And then walk your hands back to center and over to the outside of your right foot. Maybe straightening the left leg, maybe both. And then back to center. Inhaling, reach your arms out to the side. Come all the way to standing. Arms up over your head. Palms together at your heart. And release. Have your feet, heels slightly wider than your hips, and turn your toes out. Arms in an L-shaped position. Palms facing each other. Bend your knees. And now adjust your feet to be sure your knees and feet are pointed in the same direction. Goddess pose, Utthita Konasana. Engaging your core, keep your spine nice and straight and tall. Shoulders soft. Maybe sit more deeply. Breathe. Try to have your shoulders directly above your hips. Couple more breaths. Toes, shoulders soft. Straighten your legs and straighten your arms. And walk your feet together. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees and come on to a seated position. But we'll start on your right hip. So slide your hips down closer to one end of the mat. And then come onto your right side. You can rest your head into your right hand and have your left hip directly above your right. And then have your legs in roughly an L-shaped position or feet back a little bit further. But your hips may want to roll back or forward and keep them vertical. And keeping the feet together, lift your left knee up slowly. And then slowly lower it down. Take a deep breath here. And lift your knee up. Slowly bring it down. And then back up. And down. And up. Keeping those hips vertical and steady. It's just a small movement. Up and down. Keeping the feet together. For a little bit more engagement, as that left knee comes down, don't quite touch that right knee. Just up and down. Slowly moving with control. This is great for the abductor, that outer muscle in the leg. We'll just keep going. It's a small movement. Just turn inward here. Notice how you're feeling. A few more times. And then the next time your knees are together, rest them. If you like, you can massage your hand down that leg right by the hip. And then roll onto your back and gently hug your knees together. Maybe rocking side to side or simply staying still. And then come on up to a seated position and switch sides. You can roll onto your back and roll onto the other side if you like. And now just come onto your left side. So your head is being supported by your left arm or elbow. And now with your knees bent, check in that your right hip is directly above your left. Knees bent. And now with your feet together, lift that right knee up and slowly down and up and down and up and down. Just moving with control, isolating that right hip. If it feels better, if you need to, you can keep that hand on the hip to hold it steady. And if you prefer, you can let your knees stop that right knee just before it touches the left. You might notice you have more movement on one side than the other. Maybe the second side feels easier or harder. Just breathe here. Really feel. Just keep moving slowly with control. Few more times on this side. Use your breath to hang in there. And the next time your knees are together, just pause here, maybe massaging that right hip or right side of the leg. And then roll onto your back. Softly hug your knees to your chest. And breathe here. You might loosely hug your knees to your chest. That allows your whole spine and hips to stay flat on the mat. Or you might prefer to press your spine into the mat, letting your hips lift. Maybe rock side to side. Or just simply stay still here. And notice and feel. Hug your right knee to your chest and let your left foot lower towards the mat. Excuse me. Or you can straighten your left leg. Bring that right knee over towards the right shoulder for a slightly different twist or different stretch. And then hug your left knee to your chest, lowering your right foot to the mat. Maybe staying here on this side or straightening your right leg. And then bring your left knee over towards your left shoulder. Now, with your knees bent towards your chest, reach your hands under, behind your thighs by your knees. Rock along your spine just a couple of times, and then make your way up to a seated position. Straighten your right leg and bring the sole of your left foot close to your right inner thigh or maybe your knee. Reach your left hand on the mat behind your left hip, roll onto your left knee, lift your hips up, reach your right arm up and back for a nice little stretch. And then lower your hips back down, turn and face your right leg, and walk your hands forward. If this is more of a stretch than your body can handle today, just keep your hands behind you, and with your hands push your chest forward. Breathe into this. Think of letting go. Feel what's happening in your body. Slowly come on back up. Bring the soles of your feet together. Start with your legs in a diamond shape, with the soles of your feet together. Perhaps you start with your hands on the mat behind you and just push your chest forward. That might be plenty for you today. Or perhaps today you can reach your hands forward, grabbing your shins, your ankles, maybe your feet, and folding forward. A little stretch on your low back, your spine, your hips, your pelvis. Invite your knees to open wide. Breathe here. Feel every sensation. Maybe after a few breaths, you notice your body softening more deeply into the pose. And then slowly lift back up. Straighten your left leg and bring the sole of your right foot somewhere near your left inner thigh or knee. Reach your right hand on the mat behind you. Roll onto your right knee, lift your hips up, and straighten your left leg up and behind you for a nice little stretch. And now lower your hips back down to the mat and turn and face your straight leg. Maybe on this side you keep your hands behind you, or walk your hands forward, folding forward over in the direction of your left leg. Breathe here. Invite your body to soften into the pose. Maybe letting go a little bit more. And then slowly come on back up. Place the right foot on the mat. Left leg stays straight. Cross your right foot over your left leg. And now with your right hand, reach over and grab maybe the shin, the ankle, or maybe the arch of that right foot. Lengthen your spine as you inhale. And as you exhale, reach your left arm out to the side and place it on the mat behind you. This is a simple twist. We'll come into Ardha Matsyendrasana in a sec. This is a simple twist. And then come on back to center. And now with your left hand, hug your right knee. Inhale, reach your right arm out to the side, place it on the mat behind you, and gently twist to the right. And then back to center. Uncross your legs, and now place the left foot on the mat. Bending the left knee, cross that left foot over the right. With your left arm lifted up, grabbing the shin, ankle, maybe the arch of the foot, the bottom of the foot. Reach your right arm out to the side. Take a deep inhale here. As you exhale, gently twist to the right and breathe. Just twist softly in this simple twist. And then slowly come on back to center. With your right arm, hug that left knee. Lengthen your spine as you inhale. As you exhale, left arm out to the side, place it on the mat behind you, and just gently twist to the other side. How does this side feel? Does it feel different from the other? Maybe the same. And slowly make your way back to center. Uncross your legs. With your feet on the mat, knees bent, come onto your back. Lift your bend, keeping your knees bent. Lift your feet up off the mat, and then have the soles of the feet facing the ceiling, knees bent. Reach your arms to the inside of your knees. Knees are wide. And now, with your hands, reach the outside of your feet and rock side to side in happy baby. Just breathe. Move in any way that your body's asking. Maybe you move your feet around. Maybe you just hang out in the center. Just play with this pose. Whatever feels best for you. And then gently bring the soles of the feet together. Let your knees open wide away from you. Push your knees forward as you draw your feet in towards you. Spine will be nice and straight in this version of Supta Baddha Konasana. Breathe here. And then release your feet, lower your feet to the mat. Straighten each leg. If you want a blanket or an eye pillow or sweater for Shavasana, you can get them now. And then reach your arms up over your head. Straighten your right leg and your right arm as if you could stretch them away from each other. And now release that, straighten, stretch your left arm and left leg away from each other. And then straighten both, stretch both arms and legs away from yourself, getting a nice full body stretch. And then release. One more time, stretching your arms and legs and body. And release. And now let your arms rest on the mat. a few inches away from your body. Adjust your feet so that they're comfortably apart. Make any adjustments you need to be fully comfortable, so your mind and body can be completely still and relax. Your eyes might be closed, or maybe you just prefer to have a soft gaze. Just feel your body. Appreciate all the work it's just done for you and what you've offered for your body. And take a few moments to rest and absorb the practice and let go in Shavasana. Allow your breath to deepen. Softly move your fingers, your toes. Gently move your arms and legs. Maybe stretching your arms and legs, your arms up over your head for a full body stretch. When you're ready, softly hug your knees to your chest. Maybe your eyes are still closed or your gaze is still soft. And gently make the way to your right side. And in your own time, come on up to a seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. This is Winston.